For a long time it was believed that one of the oldest, or the oldest, is the famous Minotaur's labyrinth, which is located on the Greek island of Crete. To this day, excavations are still being conducted there, but tourists are also allowed and without problems. For a moderate fee, one of the attractions of Crete, the Cave of Zeus, the Labyrinth of the Minotaur, those places that are almost obligatory for people who come to the island. But relatively recently, it turned out that there is a more ancient labyrinth, which is located in Egypt, not far from Cairo, to 55 kilometers. It is more complicated. It is believed to have been built around 2400 BC. The place where it is located is Hawara, next to the pyramid of Amenemhet III. This pharaoh was quite powerful. However, the labyrinth was not built under him, but much earlier. Amenemhet simply looked for a good place for his pyramid. Nearby was an oasis, a small lake the Greeks called the place Crocodilopolis, because in those lands crocodiles were worshipped. From time immemorial, Herodotus wrote about these lands. Strabo and Pliny the Elder also mentioned it. So, to say that they didn't know about the labyrinth is not quite right. Rather, they forgot about it. It was the Minotaur's labyrinth, Knossos palace, that was emphasized. But in the middle of the 20th century, they remembered about the Egyptian labyrinth. They set the task to investigate it. For a long time it could not be done, for various reasons. One of them was the halo of mysticism that surrounded the place. The place was considered sacred and terrifying. It was said that those who opened the gates to the labyrinths heard the most terrifying roar, as if there were hundreds of wild beasts inside. So the explorers were afraid to go inside. And frankly speaking, the level of technology was still not the same. However, there were scientists who were not deterred. Gradually, the amount of information about the labyrinth and Hawara increased. It became known that the structure has several levels. That is, there is, conventionally speaking, the top floor, which is on the surface, and there are dungeons, which consist of a number of rooms, passages, and the like. The upper tier was relatively easy to explore. By the way, they found a rather large burial of crocodiles there. I have already pointed out that these creatures were sacred to the Egyptians. People worshipped the god Sebek, who had a crocodile head. There were also human burials. In general, as the scientists decided, the labyrinth was built as a tomb, very large, several hundred meters in length and width. In it, according to different data, found from 1,500 to 3,000 rooms. The most interesting thing is that the last known expedition to Hawara took place in 2008. That is, it was almost 15 years ago. The scientists came back enthusiastic. They said they had made many discoveries. However, no specific information reached the general public. Although many ordinary people were interested in the labyrinth, no more expeditions were organized. The Egyptian authorities have not made any data public. The feeling is that the project was classified for some good reason. Perhaps the researchers discovered something that the general public should not know about. It is difficult to say anything concrete on this topic, but the fact remains that the famous Egyptian labyrinth is no longer being explored. Perhaps there is no point in thickening the colors and building conspiracy theories. It is possible that the Egyptian authorities were afraid that their cultural heritage would be destroyed. Perhaps it is simply necessary to wait for the research to resume.